Thank you for joining us at Inc. My name is Greiff, and I'm here with you today, as I am every week, to help build the most important brand in your life, which is you. And when we talk about building, we use tools, and the same goes for building our brand. These wellness tools will help elevate your emotional intelligence and help to lead you in a more positive, successful direction in life and in business. Some of these tools you can layer on for protection, and some you will hang up in the closet to outfit you another day. This week's tool is entrepreneurship, and how a new meaning for this term can be annexed and lead us to success in life and business once I've demonstrated to you that this is a great tool for your brand. We have gotten a bit carried away with the entrepreneur label. The characteristics have been documented, analyzed, listed endlessly, and mostly still miss the point. So many people are now considered entrepreneurs, and we've been encouraging people to become entrepreneurs for decades, and so much so that the startup failure rate has reached 90%. So what is an entrepreneur really? How can we find the real lessons to be learned for success in life and at work and even at play? Entrepreneurs at their core are rare, transformative, and risky, and they are going to propel the society forward with big leaps of creative disruption. Or, as the book Capitalism in America calls it, creative destruction, authored by former chair of the Federal Reserve Alan Greenspan and management editor for the esteemed publication The Economist Adrian Wooldridge. Creative destruction is what created the economic greatness of our country. So what is creative destruction? Creative destruction can be described as the dismantling of long-standing practices in order to make way for innovation, and was coined by Austrian economist Joseph Schumpeter in 1942. It is used most frequently to describe innovations in manufacturing processes that increase productivity, but economists use it to express the essential nature of capitalism as a relentless drive towards progress. Our country's first entrepreneurs who drove innovation were J.P. Morgan, Andrew Carnegie, John Rockefeller, Leland Stanford, Henry Ford, among some lesser others. These great entrepreneurs earned their place in history not by inventing new things, but by organizing them. This involved three elements: spotting innovations that had the potential to revolutionize industries, bringing distant factors of production together, and integrating economic activities from the production of raw materials to the sale of finished products. One need not think of entrepreneurship solely in the context of economy, however, nor only for members of the Common Era. Ancient Egypt held some of the greatest entrepreneurs, and these all came in female form. The book Women Who Ruled the World by Kara Cooney shows us that Merneith, Nefersobuk, Hatshepsut, Nefertiti, Taorsret, and Cleopatra climbed the highest and wielded the most significant power as heads of state. Possessing ability and great ingenuity, they used their female power to avoid aggression, war, to get through crisis, to keep a culture going for more than 3,000 years. This is the reason why women were regularly chosen as pharaoh, because of their ability to organize and see potential by ruling pragmatically. True trailblazing entrepreneurs whose innovations led them to rule inside a patriarchal society that was literally ancient Egypt's salvation. And finally, we also need not to find entrepreneurs as rich, crafty, powerful, because you can find some of the most innovative adapters in life at your local extended stay hotel. Exiled in America, a book by doctoral student Christopher Dunn, chronicles his year living with permanent residents of motels who literally have nowhere else to go. Inside of these dilapidated, infested, and overcrowded structures, the mentally ill and chronically high, social refugees, if you will, find ways to eke out not only an existence but a vibrant community whose members create meaningful lives despite their crushing reality. Complete with matriarchs, rules of engagement, conflict, victories, potlucks, fireside chats, day drinking, and other cultural norms, to be able to innovate a sense of normalcy inside of this madness, to informally organize radically divergent lifestyles into a shared reality, is nothing short of genius and extremely brave. All our dreams come true if we have the courage to pursue them. And that is a quote by Walt Disney, whose name is universally recognized. But you may not know that when word got out that Walt Disney planned to turn the fairy tale Snow White into a feature film, industry insiders were convinced his efforts would fail, calling the project Disney's folly. His detractors were almost correct. Disney did in fact run out of funding during Snow White's production and was forced to show loan officers, or venture fund capitalists as we know them today, a rough cut of the movie before he could secure another round of funding. Luckily for both Disney and its investors, Snow White turned out to be a smashing success. The film earned over $8 million during its initial release, about $130 million today. Our guests today can't vote, can't purchase alcohol or cigarettes, can't serve their country, they can't donate blood, they can't work full-time, they can't play the lottery, can't apply for loans, can't get piercings or tattoos, can't sue you, can't get married, or even buy fireworks, in most states in the United States anyway. But what they can do is embody the entrepreneurial spirit and take risks and organize resources and create something new and inspiring to others. Today, we have with us Joshua Greiff and Matt Weis of Unbound Apparel and budding journalist Ben Belinger here in Studio A. They are friends, under the age of 18, all students at Olentangy Liberty High School, and aspiring captains of their industry. Welcome, guys.
Hi, it's nice to be here.
Hey, great. So, and thank you for the hoodie, by the way. It's really great. It feels really good.
Thank
Is
you.
this your guys' first radio interview?
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right. And so I have a question totally from left field. Do you guys listen to radio anymore? And we're not going to take this personally because, no, we're here at radio, but, everything's podcasted these days. You can listen via the TuneIn app. You can even live stream like we do here at WCB.org. But I'm curious, do you guys listen to actual FM radio?
I do in the morning, every morning. I listen to Dave and Jimmy on the way to school.
All right.
It just gets my blood flowing.
Okay.
Gets me ready for the day.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Okay.
I don't.
Okay, all right.
Sometimes when my phone's dead and I can't play music, I'll listen to the radio.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Well, it's good as a backup
Yeah.
also, right? Okay, great. All right, so Josh and Matt, you started Unbound Apparel Company a little over a year ago, and according to your About Us description on your website, the idea for Unbound transpired from a simple conversation between two friends about the fashion industry and the world around us. Unbound is a brand that strives to inspire today's youth to create something meaningful. Our brand is all about breaking barriers and escaping from societal pressures to do things a certain way. We feel that this message is encapsulated in our slogan, Aspire to Create. What sets us apart is our message, our affordable prices, and our unrivaled quality. So I can speak about the unrivaled quality because those of you who are not listening, those of you who are listening and can't see, I'm wearing an Unbound hoodie and it's remarkably soft, but we're here to talk about being an entrepreneur. And you mentioned breaking barriers to create something meaningful. So tell us about that conversation that the two of you had and how you're helping today's youth, other than being an incredible inspiration, I am sure.
I think, just to start off, we were just, we were always looking for something, different to do, something new to, kind of change up the pace. And that's kind of, what this started from. We just were, just kind of wanted to start something new. So we were, talking. We were both interested in, fashion, clothes and stuff. That's something I've been interested in for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just kind of how it started, but it eventually just, turned into a business.
Mm-hmm.
Opened a lot of new doors for us, I guess you could say.
Okay. What about the changing people's lives, influencing youth, that kind of thing, other than by example?
Well, yeah, I think mostly by example. We just kind of want other kids not to be scared to try different things that, other peers might judge as, outlandish and far-fetched. We've gotten our fair share of criticism from, kids in our grade just saying it's, stupid. And but we just keep going, and we want the minority of kids that want to create something to be able to do that.
That's a great message. So how do you handle it when people coming at you and they say things like, you're stupid, you're dumb, it's not going to happen, blah, 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 blah. How do you handle that kind of stuff?
We just try to ignore it. In our minds, we know we're doing something different and meaningful, and, it gives us a lot of meaning, and we're really passionate about it, so we just keep going.
Yeah. And do you turn to someone for support when you're feeling down? Is there someone you can turn to and talk to? Is that you, Ben?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're kind of their supporter. Tell us a little bit about some of the concerns that come to you with and how you handle it and how you kind of pep them up.
So I think what they're doing is really cool. Personally, I see at school people get a lot of, or these two get a lot of hate from what they do. But people at our school don't. They like just try to fit and try to be as cool as possible, and they're doing something totally different that nobody else is doing. And I like support that. Like I'm kind of in the same boat. Like I get criticism. I do podcasts at my school for the school paper, so we're all in the same boat right here. We have each other's backs, and like. If criticism comes, we just back each other up.
You know, it's so funny that, you know, from an adult perspective, I would have thought people would be like, oh my God, you're so awesome. What you're doing is so great. That's what I would have expected. Yeah. It's a totally different show to try and figure out why at that age we tend to put people down as opposed to the opposite.
Well, that's what we see a lot from like adults and stuff. They're super supportive, but then like kids our age are kind of just like. I mean, there are some that are supportive, but I mean, definitely a lot are, but there's still a lot that are just like saying it's dumb. And I think like it's kind of just like when before you like become big or like you get famous or whatever, it's like stupid. But as soon as it like you're successful, then everyone thinks it's super cool. So it's just like.
Yeah, I heard this quote from someone who was a vet that said, you know, when you're getting a lot of fire, when you're getting a lot of heat, that means you're right over the target. So whenever I heard that, I'm like, okay, that'll keep me going. So you guys are right over the target. You're in a good place. Okay. All right. So you guys decide to do this. So what was the reaction you received from your parents? I know you said other adults were super supportive, but as we mentioned in the bio, you guys are under 18. You really don't have complete autonomy yet. You need parents to support you, open accounts, file for an LLC, etc. What was the reaction you received, and how did that help or hinder your entrepreneurial efforts? Because I want parents out there who are listening to consider being supportive of these kinds of endeavors. What was your parents' reactions?
I mean, at least my parents were really supportive of me and like thought it's really great that I'm not just like sitting around the house all day and doing something different and trying to like make something out of my life.
Okay. And then what about you?
Pretty much the same thing. Like my mom's definitely my biggest supporter. She's bought like everything I
really? That's great.
She's like, give me every color. And, like, she loves it.
That's awesome.
It's inspirational, I guess.
Okay. And then did you guys also hit them up for money? Because I'm curious. I have to know. No seed money. So maybe that helps being supportive when you're not asking them for seed money, right?
Yeah.
So you guys put your own money in this, then your own private money that you believed in it. Okay. And then what about you? How about like for your podcasting that you do? Was that something that you had to convince the school leaders about that?
So we took a field trip to Otterbein earlier in the year, and we took a class about how like journalism is changing and it's going from paper to like in the cloud and stuff. And we came up, me and my buddy Chris Schutrum, who I do the podcast with, we came up with the idea of starting a podcast for the school because it's never been done in our school in the like 15-year history. And in the beginning, everyone thought of it as a joke, but as it went on, people started to support us more, and that just like it gives us like a reason to keep going. Right.
And you know, I didn't realize that you were doing a podcast, so if you want, after we're done here today, I can tell you any of the pro tips you want to do.
Oh, I would love that. I definitely need it.
I'm an Airbnb experience host for podcasts, so I would be happy to share all that stuff for you.
Thank you.
Be my pleasure. Okay, so it really meant a lot, because do you think that if your parents had said, oh, you know, you gotta prepare for college, you gotta study for your exams, and blah, these reasons, do you think that would have stopped you?
I mean, I don't think so, but it would have we would have hesitated.
Sure.
We needed like a push at the beginning to like really get us started, because it was like a risk, like you gotta put money into it, and like so kind of like their support just helped us like go all in.
Sure. I mean, it was like that tipping point, right? Yeah, for sure. Okay. You also sought out the support of others. For example, Ted Bingham from the Cowbundant marketing firm. I've worked with him in the past. He sent over some of his clients. Shelley Stotzer, for example, the career and talent strategist at Crosworks, was on the show. How did you find Ted, for example, to seek out his professional wisdom, or did you just hire him?
No, actually, my dad, he like contacted my dad for some advice with his business, and basically my dad just was like, I think you would love this guy, like you should talk to him. So my dad kind of like put us together.
Your dad contacted him for his business?
No, like the other way around.
Ted.
Yeah. Like my dad's company, so he was like working with my dad.
Gotcha.
And then my dad was like, this was at the same time when we were kind of starting. And so my dad was like, hey, you should talk to these kids.
Yeah. And he actually,
Yeah.
Ted actually even emailed me and said, you know, you got to hear these kids' story and stuff like
yeah.
that. So yeah, also he was also very impressed by you
Yeah,
guys.
awesome.
Okay, lots of supporters. Okay, so I want to talk about social media for a moment, and it's been my experience, sadly, I might add, that you need to market heavily in social media in order to gain attention, recognition, sales. And for those who are budding entrepreneurs themselves who might be listening, tell us some of the lessons that you've learned and some recommendations that you have, if you don't mind, and we'll kind of like break it down. We're not asking you guys to be the end all everything, just whatever little tidbit you have, but break it down by each platform. So Facebook, something that you've learned and maybe a recommendation that you have based on your experiences with Facebook.
I mean, I'd say we're not super experienced with Facebook.
Okay.
We kind of just started that a little while ago, so, but basically just kind of being active on there and like keeping up your posts is pretty
So
important.
content is king.
Yeah.
And you realize too, like for example, probably most of your peers probably don't use Facebook, and
Yeah.
you're just like, well, gotta do it,
Exactly.
gotta do it.
And that's the thing. Like we're trying to figure out like what's the next big thing. You know,
Mhm.
like 5-10 years ago, it was like Instagram was coming up, and
Right.
now Instagram's like probably the number one thing, at least for our
Yeah.
like industry.
Okay.
So that's what we like have been focusing mostly on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was the next one. So Instagram is like your main,
Yeah, that's,
main,
yeah,
main.
that's our big
Okay.
focus.
Do you guys do Snapchat?
We don't have a
No.
Snapchat
Okay.
account for
Okay.
our business.
I don't bother with that either. Let's see. LinkedIn. Do you guys do LinkedIn?
I set up an account,
Yeah.
but
You
it was
did?
just to like get in touch with people.
Okay.
So it wasn't like specifically for our business, but it was kind of like
Gotta have a
something-
presence.
Yeah, just
Gotta have a presence. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Twitter?
And we haven't made an account.
Okay.
We're just focusing on Instagram right now, I guess,
Okay.
but we will
And-
do that in the future.
And that's probably, and I know like I went all of the conferences that I've gone to, you know, people who do kind of apparel, that kind of arena. Insta's really the place
because
where
the
you.
images, you know.
Yeah.
Right. And you guys have a great marketing campaign. You guys, how did you guys find the photographer that you guys are working with?
Okay, so he like DM'd us.
Nice.
It was a couple months ago, but he just like sent us a DM. Was like talking about how he's like same age as us, lives in Utah,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like an aspiring photographer, I guess.
Love it.
He just wants to like build his portfolio, so he said we should work together. He offered us a great price. So
Nice.
we did it.
And then there was another thing too. I was kind of looking at your guys' feeds, of course, you know, just to kind of do my research, and I just noticed that on the most recent one that people were like, "Hey, you hit me up, we want to collaborate," and then when I go to their page, it's like, "Pay us for likes and follows."
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that?
I don't know.
Inauthenticity.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of just ignore it because a lot of accounts do that. Like, they'll just go under a specific hashtag and just like copy and paste the same message. So we don't really like bother with that stuff.
Okay, so you'd rather have organic, authentic
Yeah, for
growth,
sure.
even if it takes a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, do you do any of those for your podcast?
So our podcast, we created a Twitter account that I wouldn't say it's too popular, but we have a solid following.
Okay,
And
good.
what we try to do is we try to like get people like active. We do polls and stuff. Ask them what they like for feedback about our videos, what they want us to do next, and we kind of just try to make them laugh. Like just like if you make someone laugh on Twitter, they're gonna check out your stuff. And so I thought that was kind of like it's something to open the door to
Right,
the podcast.
Right. And to my Twitter handler, Jared Albin, I hope you're listening to this. Okay. And then my Facebook handler, Michael J. Klein's here also. And so Zachary, our YouTube handler. So thank you so much. It's, as you can tell, it's important,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
very.
here they are.
Yeah.
Because you can't do without, sadly, I don't think there's any way around that other than, like, you know, going in person and, like, maybe, like, going to a crew game and throwing out T-shirts, you know, like, changing out the crew T-shirts and putting the ones for the Unbound
Yeah.
ones. That would be funny. That's a good one. Okay. All right. So, speaking of, where can one go to find out more about your apparel line and what you guys are up to? So, you already have batch 1 and batch 2. Am I wearing batch 2 then?
No, that's the first.
Oh, yes,
sweatshirt
the
we made.
original. Okay. So, when is there a batch 3 coming out?
We're working on a few things, but we don't have an official release.
Okay,
right now.
okay, keeping us in suspense. So tell us about some of your handles, your URLs, and things like that.
So our website is www.unboundohio.com, and we have like a lot of information on there. We have a lookbook with some pictures. We're working on like a playlist that kind of represents our brand that we're gonna put on there. And we have our products for sale on there, and we have a little bit of information about our stuff. And we're also working on a video that we're gonna put on there. So just keep tuned for that. And then our Instagram handle is @UnboundOhio. If you want to check that out, has some more pictures and kind of keep you updated with what we're doing.
Okay. And what about people who might want to do some collaborations? What kind of collaborations? That's another thing that I learned too, is like channeling partners are important. What kind of collaborations? You talked about photographer. What kind of other collaborations have you guys been getting going? You have a model that you're working with, right? From what I understand.
This the photographer has connections with a few models,
Mm-hmm.
and we've been working with them, and they kind of post on their page and like tag us, so that gets us some traffic too.
Okay.
Sure.
And are you guys going to be doing any selling around town at all? Any events coming up that we might be able to find you?
Yeah, so I mean that's like the next thing we're trying to like get some in-person stuff.
Yeah.
Right now Instagram's like it's good, but like you got to build that, so that takes time.
Yeah.
So we're trying to focus on like some new ways to market, like in person.
Mm-hmm. Be on the radio show.
Yeah, for
Right?
sure. This
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
definitely. But other things we want to just kind of. Well, I know it's like too late because we're gonna try to do Confest, like a vendor,
Yeah.
but it's too late for that. So I'm not really sure what we're doing, but we're gonna try to like go to some events and maybe like sell on the street or whatever.
Yeah.
People do it all the time.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
What's
We
the
had-
worst they could do?
Yeah, we had an idea actually, like maybe going to Confest, and we were gonna bring like a cooler full of like water bottles and like sell them, because that's not illegal
Right.
without a vendor's
Yeah,
license.
I
Right.
think it's illegal just
Yeah.
to like sell like T-shirts on the
Yeah,
street.
but you can sell water, so we were gonna do that and maybe like hand out flyers with them,
Yeah.
kind of.
Or stickers.
Yeah,
Like some vinyl
we
stickers.
just
yeah.
ordered some stickers, and those will be available.
Did you
on
get
our
vinyl
website,
ones, not
too.
paper ones?
Yeah.
Okay, good, because I learned my lesson the hard way on that one.
250 stickers.
There you go.
coming soon,
All
so
right, all right,
we'll be
very
handing
good.
those out.
What corner are you guys gonna be? Are you guys gonna be at Buttles and
We'll be
Neil? Okay.
everywhere.
All right, good. We'll keep an eye out for you
Yeah.
for sure. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that I wanted parents to be supportive of entrepreneurial endeavors of their children, because clearly they are, for the most part, a make or break a lot of the times for a young entrepreneur. What has this endeavor taught you guys, and I want to break it down, about yourselves, about your work ethic, about the business, and your vision of your future? Okay, so we'll want to ask you first. What has this taught you about yourselves?
I mean, I think it showed us that we're not afraid to like step outside of boundaries that are kind of like imaginary boundaries that have been created by like our peers and people of our generation, where you just have to like be cool and like fit in and just not do anything different.
Great.
I think it just showed me like what I'm capable of.
Nice.
Like there's a lot of like you said, expectations. Like we're just in high school, just go to school, like play sports, that's about it. But like it showed us that we can like be involved in like business with like adults and like people that are more educated than us and still be like respected. I guess.
Yeah. Okay, what has this taught you about your work ethic?
I mean, I think it's been tested at times, but I'd say it's still pretty good, and we're still striving to be better every day.
Sure.
It's just like every single day we gotta like work, and that's just consistency and
So 24/7 gig.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it really
Like,
is.
As soon as we kind of just don't do anything for a few days, we're falling behind.
Yeah.
So it's like always gotta keep.
Gotta
doing
get on
something.
it.
Yeah.
What about the business? What have you learned about the business? Either apparel business or just selling or something like that?
I guess this is like entrepreneurship in general.
Yeah.
But I think it taught me that it's just like all about passion. So like if you're not passionate about the industry or the subject, then you're not going to be able to be successful. And that's like what you said, 90% of startups fail. That's because people want to be entrepreneurs.
Right.
But they're not like actually willing to put in the work.
Yeah.
And I think you can be a hard worker, but you have to have like passion for it in order to.
Because it doesn't feel as much as like work either.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm having a good time while I'm doing
Exactly,
this too.
Because it starts out really good, like everything's going well and you're like feeling good, and then it slows down.
Yes,
It's like
yes.
if you're not passionate about just like creating, then like you're not gonna be able to like stick with it.
That's right. Anything you want to add about the business aspect of what you learned?
I mean, I think we've just been learning a lot about like marketing and different strategies, and, like more the technical side, like tracking our expenses and stuff like that.
Okay, and then finally, your vision of your future. How has this changed your vision of how you see yourself in the future?
I mean, I think this is like a great tool for us, like even if this specifically doesn't like blow up and become like something we can do like in the future, like it's still given us a lot of skills and opportunities to learn like about our future.
Yeah, and you can take this and parlay this into some next level thing, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's just put us way ahead of like other people that are interested in business or entrepreneurship, like just because we've had so much experience already, and like, a lot of people just wait until they're done with college to get into that. But like, I think just starting at like a young age opens a lot of doors.
Right. And as I mentioned, like your level of confidence, it's like, look what I can do. I can do it. Okay, and Ben, I'm curious, you yourself have taken initiative to be here.
Yes.
And get some valuable experience in preparing for entering your field of podcasting journalism, a hallmark of an entrepreneur also. And sitting here listening to Josh's and Ben's story, and I'm sure you've heard it before than here today because you guys are so close.
Yeah.
And them sharing the impact of the experience of starting an apparel company that it's had on them personally, I wonder, what impact has this had on you as a peer watching your friends go for it, so to speak?
So it's kind of inspired me, like, to just try new things, and like people just like focus on like popularity and stuff and like sports, but like instead of starting like after college, like doing what you want to do, they're starting early. They're doing what they want to do in their future now, and I think that's really inspiring because not a lot of people are doing that.
Great, and so are you.
Yeah.
And then we'll hear more from you when we get to the person on the street
Yeah.
segments. Okay, you guys, I can't tell you how gratifying it is to see you guys live out your dream and really inspiring others. You are making a difference, and congratulations, and thanks for being on You Inc. here today.
Thank you for having
Thanks.
us.
Yeah.